Hello everyone and welcome to another video on Java programming, and today we are going to cover how to do arithmetic operations in Java. First, I will discuss about the different types of arithmetic operations that we can perform in Java programming language, and then in the second stage I will write down a code in NetBeans and I will show you how you can use those different type of arithmetic operations. And we have different types of arithmetic operators that can be used in Java programming, which includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, remainders, square root, power, and so on. The most common ones, the first four, they are by default available and we don't need to import any package, but for the other three, especially for the square root and power, we have to import java.lang.math, and then we will be able to call their methods. In order to use these operations, the process is very straightforward. We have to define the variables, or we have to give direct input for the operations, and then it will calculate based on the operator sign, and it will be used and it will be stored in the variable, or it will be printed out on the screen as we want. So let's try to write down a very basic Java program where we will perform all these 7 operations in that program by taking the input from the user. Let's open the NetBeans, and over here I will create a new project. Select the Java. Next, I will give the name arith operations. Click finish, and by default it will open a Java file. So first thing, because I am going to take input from the user and then I am going to, based on the user input, I am going to do some arithmetic operations. I will take two variable values from the user input to now as a number, and I will perform all arithmetic operations one by one, and I will print out the output also. So in order to take input from the user or some specific arithmetic operations, we are going to import two libraries. So first library is that we have to import for taking the input is scanner. For the scanner class, we have to import java.util. I can say star. I will import all their corresponding classes and I will use it. Next, I have to use mathematical operations, so I will import java.lang.math. So I imported these two packages just after the definition of the package, but before the definition of the class. Now I will be able to use methods from these two imported packages or libraries. So let's start. So as I said, I am going to take input from user for two numbers, and then we will start by applying the arithmetic operations. So let's take two variable values. For taking the first variable value, I will print out a message to enter the value, and then I will take the input value. So for that purpose, I will use system.out.print, and over here I am going to say enter first number value, and then I am going to take the input from the user. We have to create an object of the scanner class, and for that purpose let's create an object with name input. So I will say scanner input, or I can say my input. Okay, new scanner system.in. So by this way I just created an object for the scanner class, and now I am going to use this object to take the input from the user, and I will store that input in variable var1. So I will say int var1 equal to my input dot next int. Now next I will say again, I will print out message enter second number value. So system dot out dot print, and over here I am going to write down enter the second number value. Okay, so I will add the semicolon at the end of the line. Now I will try to add new line before going to have this message, so it will be displayed line by line. And now I am going to store the second variable value int var2 in variable var2, and it will be my input dot next int, and that's it. So now so far I took two input values from the user and store them into the integer variables. Now let's try to call the arithmetic operation. So first one is addition. So I will write down over here. So I will store the output of the addition of the first and second variable in the third variable, and then I will print out on the screen. So I will say int var3 equal to, once the variable is defined, then we don't need to add the data type again and again. For the first time only we have to add the data type, and later on we can use that variable just with its name without adding the data type. So it will be var1 plus var2. So by this way it is going to take the addition of these two variables and going to store it in var3. So let's print out that addition value also. So I will use system.out.print, and inside the quotation I am going to say the sum of two input numbers is, and I will add plus var3. So add the value from the variable 3. Over here at the start I will again use new line /n to go to the new line to display this message. So that's it for the first arithmetic operation. Let's try to run the code and see what will be the output and how it is going to work. So execute. You can see over here in the console it is saying enter the first number value. I will enter actually 16, and enter the second number value. I will add 4. The sum of two numbers is 20. 16 plus 4, 20. So that is the output. So now I will try to add some more arithmetical operations by using the same variable 1 and variable 2. So let's go with subtraction. So for this one I will say int var4 equal to var1 minus variable 2. And again I will try to print out the output at the same time. System.out.print /new line /n, the two input numbers is plus var4. So now you can see by this way we are going to print out the variable 4 value that is actually going to show the subtraction. So let's execute the program again and see how it is going to print out. So let's again 16, 4, and the output for the summation it will be 20, for the subtraction it will be 12. Now let's add the other arithmetic operations also one by one quickly. So multiplication, I will say int var5 equal to var1 multiplied by, for multiplication we have to use the star sign, var2, and now we are going to print out the output. System.out.print, and over here we are going to say the two input numbers is and plus var5. We will go for the division also. So I will say int var6 in the same way as we did multiplication or subtraction and addition. We will go for the division also. var6 equal to var1 divide. For divide we have to use the bracket sign var2, and we will print out the answer. System.out.print, we will say the division of two input numbers is okay, and is, and then quotation close plus variable 6. By this way we are going to print out the division. Let's add the remainder also, our modulus. So it will be int var7 equal to var1. For modulus or remainder, we have to use percentage sign, where 2, and let's print out this answer, system.out.print plus var 7. So by this way we are going to have the modulus or remainder of the first number based on the second number will be printed. Let me add the comment for. So now let's try to execute this code, and when we will enter the two variable numbers as an input, it will calculate all these 5 arithmetic operations and print out the values on the screen. Let me add new lines for every printout, so it will be displayed in proper way, line by line. Okay, so save the program and then click on the run button. So it is saying enter the first number, I will enter 16. It is saying enter the second number, I will enter 4. And now you can see it is displaying an output. The first number is this 16, enter the second number 14. The sum of two input numbers is 20. The sub of two input numbers is 12. The multiplication of two numbers is 16 times 4, 64. The division of two numbers is 16 divided by 4, 4, and the modulus of two input numbers is 0 because 16 is divisible by 4, so output will be 0. So these were 5 very basic mathematical operations that we just performed by writing down the code in Java. Now we are going to cover 2 more examples in the same code where we will try to calculate the power and square root of two numbers. So first one is square root. For that part we cannot do it straightforward, we have to call the method defined in the math package, because after the square root the output will be double. So this is the reason we cannot save the output of the square root in the integer variable, so we have to define the variable data type double. So we will say double var 8 equal to, now I have to call math dot square root sqrt, and inside the bracket I have to pass the variable for which we want to calculate the square root. So I will say variable 1, and by this way it will calculate the square root of the variable 1 and it will store it in variable 8. Now let's print out the output. I will use system.out.print the same, and I will say the square root of first input number is, and I will add close the brackets and add plus sign and then the variable name. By this way it will display this message along with the output of the square root. So this is the first example. Let's add the second example also in the same way, and this time I am going to calculate the power of first number based on the second number. So I will say int var 9 equal to math.pow, and inside that we have to pass the variables. I will say var1 and variable 2. So by this way the power of variable 1 based on variable 2 will be calculated and it will be stored in the output variable. We have to define the variable output variable double type because the power function or method by default return an output in the double format. So we cannot use integer, we have to define double. Okay. Now let's try to print out this output also on the screen in the console when we will execute the program. So system.out.print, and inside the quotations I will say power based on two input numbers is plus sign and var 9. So by this way it will display the power of variable 1 based on variable 2. So let's execute the program by clicking on this green button and see what will be the output. So it is waiting for the first number input. I will say 16. Enter the second number value. I will say 4, and that's it. It will execute and it will show you the output. So you can see over here, these are the two input values and these are the all output values. We can see the sum of the two input numbers is 20, sum of two input numbers is 12, the multiplication of two numbers is 64, the division of two input numbers is 4, that is actually based by 16 divided by 4. The modulus of two input numbers is 0 because 16 is divisible by 0, and the square root of the first input number is 4. If we will take the square root of 16, it will be 4. The output power based on the two input numbers is 65,536, that is actually 16 power 4. So that's it for today's session. Over here we covered several examples of arithmetic operations and we tried to go one by one, and we also printed out the output of those arithmetic operations. And this is the complete code that we wrote in Java for all the arithmetic operations. Over here, make sure that you will import these packages, otherwise the code will not work. And this is the output, as you can see over here. And that's it for today's session. If you like my video, please click on the like button and don't forget to share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.